Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Wednesday as the bulls have been able to reconquer the monthly open at 47,000 US dollars, which means that we are now on our way to test 49,700. That's a very positive thing because this was the last test the bulls really had coming to this resistance 3 times. We talked about if it broke, that would be the confirmation that there is still some potential upside here for Bitcoin. Now, 49,700 is a very important level because we know the range above 49,700 is a target of 58,000 US dollars. So this is going to be one of the largest ranges that Bitcoin has had since we saw the corrective move down to the $30,000 level, about 17% upside potential. And coming now to test 49,700, if this truly is indeed a bullish break of this channel that we saw kind of unfold after 49,700 first failed, a second retest would assume that now there's a little bit more strength and accumulation at these lower levels, and the likelihood that that $49,700 level can truly now turn into a support where we can potentially see higher price levels like 58,000 becomes a lot more likely right now because we are breaking above this monthly open. So it's a very important time. We're going to talk about what's happening to altcoins as well, because remember, if Bitcoin still has some room to go to the upside, being the umpire, that tells me that there's still some potential room for altcoin season to potentially see a higher high form, and that would assume that this chart that factors in all of the altcoins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum and USDT would potentially see a continuation to the upside where this channel resistance would now turn into support since this is already broke, and we could see an extended period for altcoins to perform. Now, that's the bullish case as long as what we're seeing right now with Bitcoin is truly valid, that we are seeing a bullish break above 47,000 once again at this monthly open. If we do come down to 47,000 at any point now, we need to hold this monthly open to assume further upside for Bitcoin. And then, of course, we've also got the weekly open at 46,000 as a major support level. And now we have these two levels to watch to the downside. So at first it was 46,000. Now that we've conquered 47,000, 47,000 now is my make it or break it if we want to assume continued upside for Bitcoin. Because if this truly was just a short-term push to the downside for Bitcoin, then that tells me if it's coming up for another round, altcoins are going to push up, as I've said, and that also tells me that the second test of 49,700 is going to be a successful one to break through since we've already come and tested this level 1. So that's a little bit of a different perspective if we were assuming bearish price action, but we're still going to address the downside scenario. Notice here with Ethereum, because Bitcoin is able to get above 47,000, we've also been able to get above 3454. So that's a positive thing. Now the question is Ethereum going to be able to get above 3650? I think that Bitcoin really needs to come to 49,700 at this point for Ethereum to see this move to the upside. But there is a possibility that if Bitcoin just stays above the weekly open, and especially above the monthly open, which the weekly open is at 46,000, that this could even see some upside, maybe some new highs from this recent rally up where we kind of topped out at 4,000, just because Bitcoin isn't seeing intense downside, and the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart might have the chance to push up since right now it is above the monthly and weekly open. So, until we see this play out, that's when we're going to find out if we're truly now seeing some strength. But the fact of the matter is we did come test these lower levels for the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart below the monthly and weekly open. Bitcoin dominance has been rising. So I think if we can get above 76,000 Satoshis, the previous weekly open, that would be a confirmation that there actually might be some room left here where this chart for Ethereum to Bitcoin can come to 86,000 Satoshis. And that would allow Ethereum to potentially even see new all-time highs. Who knows? So that's kind of where we would start going if this bullish scenario truly plays out. And then we'll cover the other revolving parts of the market, like the traditional markets, as we always do. So I first want to really dive into what's happening here to Bitcoin, because we did that volume analysis and we determined there was a lot of sellers here. we've yet to see buy volume really equate to the type of sell pressure that we saw, but we're seeing light volume. And what do you guys always hear me say when there's light volume? The path of least resistance is sideways to a little bit higher, not lower, right? So coming up right now is totally fine with me. I think that if we can come to 49,700 once again, that's going to really show us that there's strength in this market. But until that happens, I personally, as the umpire, would say that we're just seeing garden variety market behavior before a real decisive move. I know we were saying that if we get above the monthly open, 47,000, that, you know, that's all we needed. However, with the lack of volume, we have to be dynamic, be like Bruce Lee, and say to ourselves that, okay, this is, you know, definitely coming towards 49,700, not with strength, but we want to monitor it at this point, right? So I think the good thing now is that we can say 47,000 is a make it or break it point, because coming back to this monthly open after coming below it for so long wouldn't be a good sign. And so it's nice to see the price come up, even though we were expecting some potential downside because of the volume, because now as it gets higher and higher, we can set our make it or break it levels a little bit higher. So like right now, the $47,000 level, it's above the $46,000 level that we had yesterday. And so that's what I'm liking here on this chart. And then if we break the monthly open once again, that's when I would start having some concerns again, because this was a very violent push to the downside when we first came above 49,700. So we cannot take that off the table until we really get a confirmation back above 49,700. So great to see Bitcoin moving up. That's certainly a positive thing. I think that that would be very interesting for Ethereum to see whether or not it's going to have some fuel left with the Ethereum Bitcoin chart to really make its move to the upside. If that happens, that could certainly elongate these altcoins performing against Bitcoin. And I think that the other altcoins will follow if the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart could prove to the altcoin market that there is some room left for some velocity to the upside with these altcoins. So I think that the others dominance chart isn't going to really move to the upside until the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart can move to the upside. And so we'll monitor that as always. And then Bitcoin dominance, we're expecting a double bottom. And the reason I say that is because of the DXY double bottoming. So if we see some further downside for Bitcoin dominance, it would be very little downside if our opinion is true that we're going to double bottom, or we could have already have seen the exhaustion. So it's really a sensitive time right now. It's either a day where we're just seeing some relief and some path of least resistance price action before seeing continuation, or we're truly actually going to see some strength here in Bitcoin's price, allowing the dominance to come down even just a little bit more, others dominance comes up a little bit more, and then maybe we see the double bottom a little bit later. So remember, timing these things are the hardest part of the equation, but knowing what we're looking for is, I think, what is important, especially when you're watching this channel. So we're looking for a point where Bitcoin dominance could bottom out, and I think seeing that 19% drop from 49,000 could certainly have been a catalyst for Bitcoin dominance to start its way back up. So, when it comes to timing these things, who knows? The DXY, though, this is certainly going to affect markets if we get above 93.82, and we are in these higher ranges, but we're back down to the range from 91.92 and 92.62. So the more the DXY can play around in this area, the more this buys time for the cryptocurrency market, the S&P 500, to maybe see new highs. And so that's why we'll continue to monitor this. And so far, things are looking good for the cryptocurrency market, with the DXY still calm. And gold is still pretty calm as well. It's been kind of going up and down within that tight range at 1,800. And the S&P 500 looks like it could be continuing its upside momentum at this 50-day moving average, as it always has. And we've never seen it just really come below that to that 100-day moving average. It just keeps coming back and up, and so it's back above the weekly open, and so that's a good thing. This is what we want to see if we want to assume some pressure away from Bitcoin's downside. And so things are certainly looking a little bit different today, and I think that a big part of that is the fact that the S&P 500 got above the weekly open. That allowed Bitcoin to get above the monthly open. Are we seeing strength on the smaller time frames? not necessarily just yet. And that's why I still am a bit cautious with what we're seeing right now with Bitcoin's price action. The fact of the matter is volume doesn't lie. There was a lot of sell pressure coming into this move to the downside, and there hasn't yet been buy pressure to equate that. Could come soon. Let's see. I think 49,700 is going to give us a lot of answers. And with that, thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today. I hope you enjoyed today's analysis. And until next time, Snipers